Hello guys, welcome back, and today we're gonna be talking about Hero of Remnant. So let us begin, ladies and gents. We currently see a somewhat manic, Roman torch trick, as you would say. I'm gonna rip you apart, you little. As before he can actually do anything, he would basically, get attacked by one of Izuku's attacks. More specifically, Hellblaze, which is a weaker version of a weaker version of Hellblaze specifically, as it would burn parts of the machine a little bit, but not too much so it won't damage it. As you would say this, little fire, doesn't matter, he would say, as after saying that, he would activate some of the guns on the, Atlantean Paladin, causing it to shoot out little missiles nearby, as the missiles would rush towards Blake and Sun. Sun would get out of the way while Blake uses her clones to basically, dodge, or at least, take in the damage for her. While this was happening, we currently see nearby the rest of Team RWBY coming in to basically save them. And the reason why Neptune is not there as well, she decided to leave because she was bored at the time. So yeah, we currently see our boy as he would get out his weapon, aka the Kopesh Axe. As he would basically activate it in its, Crescent Axe form, or I like to call Beast Mode. As after doing so, he would basically start slashing at the thing, using Hellblaze to enhance the attack, as the Atlantean Paladin would, somewhat, I guess you'd say, resist the attacks. As we would also see, Team RWBY, or at least the rest of Team RWBY finally arrive, as you would start shooting off their, weapons. Specifically, using Crescent Rose from, RWBY, and another example, Amber Silica? Yeah, Amber Silica from, Yang. As while they were fighting, we would also see Weiss as she would use her glyphs to basically increase her attacks. As for our boy, Izuku, as he would say this, now try this out, he would say. As he would say this, now, let's try this out. As he would say, now, purity, he would say, as the mark of purity, or, Derriere's powers would be inside of him. As he would say this, now, let's try this out. Combo star, he would say, as he would basically get rid of his, or more specifically, puts back his, Kopesh Axe, as he would start, punching the thing. And if you don't remember, Combo Star in the wiki says that it basically increases the attack, or at least increases the gravity of the punch by, by at least about 200,000 pounds of force. For, basically increasing it to the point that it basically becomes stronger and stronger. Essentially, the more that he punches, the stronger he gets. But if he, loses concentration, or he gets, parried, for example, the effect basically wears off and he has to do it all over again. So yeah, basically, punches it, and then it would equal the, basically times the power, essentially. So, as while he was punching the thing, basically punching it to the point that it's almost, causing the Atlantean Paladin to basically break, he would say, now, Yang, he would say, as Yang would say this, right, she would say, as she would get ready her fists, as she would, use her semblance, as she would rush towards, the Atlantean Paladin, and would punch it, causing it to basically explode, or at least somewhat explode. As after somewhat exploding, it causes the cockpit to basically break open, causing the glass to go into, well, Roman's face. Yeah, at this point, I'm basically ruining him right now. As at that point, though, our boy Roman, as he's currently clawing at his face, going like. Anyways, continuing on, also, I recently got an announcement from school, which, at least I hope it's not anything too annoying, considering that I'm, gonna do, job interviews and stuff now. Anyway, continuing on, as Roman is clawing his face, he would say, my face, my eye, he would say, as the glass is currently in his eye, as you would say, specifically our boy, Izuku, as you would say to Yang, Yang, I think that was a bit much, she would say. I should say, sorry, Izuku. But still, she would say, as she would see him, just like clawing his eyes out, saying, "My eyes, my eye!" He would say, "You little bit." As before he could say anything else, he would say this. "Duh, what happened? What?" As you would also notice something. His leg. His leg is also broken. As the delay of pain would basically subside, as you would say, my leg, you would say, as you would start screaming out in pain as well, as you'd say, "Oh god," as you would say that to himself, specifically our boy Izuku. As Izuku would say this, "Either way, we're gonna be capturing him. He's a criminal after all," he would say. As before they can actually, grab onto him and basically bring him to jail, some girl would basically appear. As the girl would be revealed to be a girl with chocolate and, strawberry type hair. I mean, I'm not wrong, considering that her name is literally Neapolitan. So, anyway, as she would basically, grab onto Roman, as she would basically make him disappear, as you would say, "Wait, what? Who are you?" He would say. As Izuku would look at her, as she would basically give off a smile, as she would basically, blow him a kiss. And then she would disappear into glass. As you would say, well, crap, he would say. As one of them would say this, "Oh, you think," said, a somewhat, angry and somewhat irate, Weiss. As Sun would say this, "Well, that's a bummer," he would say. As our boy Rizuku would say this, "Ah, shit. They escaped," he would say. As one of them, specifically Ruby, would say, "Yeah, that's pretty bad," she would say. "Though, at least we know that he has an accomplice, or at least some sort of, psychic," she would say. As Yang would say this. Yeah. Also, she does look kinda cute, eh, Izuku, she would say. As Izuku would basically blush, as he would say, "Yeah, whatever, Yang. Anyways, we should probably get back home." Though I wonder what father's gonna think about. "Yeah, I'm probably grounded," he would say. As, Yang would say this, "Oh, be careful," or, try not to sweat it, she would say. As after that, they would leave, as Sun would say goodbye to them. So, after that, everybody basically came back to the dorms as they would fall asleep. The next day, as we currently see Izuku and Pyra in class. Specifically, in Glinda's, combat class, as they're currently paired up to basically fight each other. So, as the spar would begin, Izuku would say this. "Try to be careful," he would say. "It's been a while since I actually fought you," he would say. As she would say this. "Yes, it really has been a while. Though, I promise that I'll be stronger," she would say. As after saying that, she would get ready her spear. As he would say this. "Me too. But this time I won't be using my fists this time. Now, come forth." As he would say this. "Now, patience," he would say. As patience would be activated, which is Joel's, commandment. And I recently found out that... Wait for a second. Anyways, continuing on, as we currently see our boy, as he would activate patience. And, I realized that apparently in the wiki, they're able to, or at least they now have an explanation about their powers now, which is surprising to me. So yeah, apparently Dro's, commandment, which is patience, allows him to basically, anybody that has a, an intolerance of pain, well, they'll get further, in pain. Basically, more pain towards people that don't like pain, essentially. So, as he would activate this, semblance, or should I say this commandment, as he would say this. "You ready?" he would say. As she would say, "Ready," she would say. As Izuku would start using his commandments to start, or more specifically Joe's commandment, to start creating, Earth-like walls and Earth-like attacks. Creating Earth-like golems to basically try and attack her. As while this was happening, we currently see 3 people watching him. AKA Team... Actually, I don't really know what to call them. Oh yeah, now I remember. I remember like this specific like meme where they basically made their team name called, not gonna say it, it just starts with S. But in this case, Cinder is going to be the leader, so it's gonna be C and ends with men. I love how they just like, yes, team that. Oh god, as we currently see them watching the fight, as Emerald would say this, "Hey, Cinder," as she would say this, "What is it?" She would say, as she would say this, "You think that Izuku Ironwood is quite the threat, right?" She would say, as Cinder would say this, "Yes, he's certainly quite the threat, but fortunately for us, we'll be able to take care of him soon. And I'm also interested in his powers. I certainly want to keep him as, I guess you could say, a pet, you would say." As after, Mercury heard that, he would say, Emerald, Sin, maybe rephrase that, he would say. She would say, "What? I just want to use him as a punching bag," she would say. Or maybe, as she would have some weird thoughts. As Mercury would say, "Even though I'm not your friend, I pray for you, man," he would say to himself, thus saying that towards Izuku. As Emerald would just look at him, as she would say, "Pervert," she would say, as he would say, "Hey!" As after saying that, we would go back towards the battle. As we would go back towards the battle between him and, our girl Pyra, which, by the way, I still kind of feel bad for her death. Yeah, still not getting over that. So, as while the fight would continue on, as you would say this, "Take this, Earth Fist," you would say, as you would punch her right in the stomach, as she would say, as she would say this, "Ugh, dang my semblance, my aura, why does it, why does it feel like it's not nullifying it," she would say, as he would say this, "This is my commandment of patience, my commandment of patience. Those that are intolerant of pain shall be inflicted with more and more pain," he would say. That is my patience," he would say. As after saying that, she would say, "Quite the ability," she would say. As he would say, "Thank you. Now, anyways, let's continue on with the fight," he would say. As after saying that, the fight would continue on as we would go to another perspective. We currently see Weiss as she's currently waving flags for Izuku. Because, she's essentially going to be Izuku's, fiance, essentially. As one of them, specifically Ruby, would say, "Go Izuku," she would say, as she would, be waving flags, as she's currently, cheering him on. After all, they're, essentially a five-man team, so, as one of them would say this. Specifically our girl Blake, as she would say, "Huh, that's quite the ability. Though I am curious, why does he have a semblance like that in the first place?" As after saying that, as Yang would say, "I don't know. Probably some sort of like genetic thing in Atlas," she would say. As, Weiss would say, uh, "Actually, I'm not even going to refute that," she would say. As after saying that, the fight would continue on as the fight would end with Izuku nearly punching her face. As he would say this, "I think that's enough," he would say. As she would say, "Yeah." God, it hurts," she would say. As Izuku would basically grab her by the hand, as she would say, "Thanks, Izuku. That certainly helped," she would say. As she would say, "Yeah, no problem." Anyway, so, as he would look at her once again, as he'd say, "So, we should probably get," as before they can continue on, Good Witch would say, "Alright, everybody have seen, young Ironwood and Miss Pyrrha's battle. Now, does anyone have the, right mind to try and fight them?" As after saying so, one person would raise their hand. Being that, of Cinder, as she would say, "Yes, and please, I would like to fight ECQ Ironwood, please. And so, this is where we're gonna be ending off this episode. So, yeah. So, bye bye!